The story number 1, The Shadows Next Door. When I moved into a quaint little house in a quiet neighborhood, I thought I had found the perfect spot to start fresh after my recent divorce. The place belonged to my aunt and uncle, who had rented it out for years until they moved into a bigger home. After a couple of months alone, my colleague Kyle asked if I needed a roommate. I agreed, and he decided to turn the garage into his personal space, giving us a decent setup. Things started off smoothly. Kyle and I worked different shifts, so I often left the back door unlocked for him. One evening, I returned home from dinner at my girlfriend's, looking forward to enjoying a few beers I had stashed in the fridge. To my disbelief, the six-pack was missing. Assuming it was Kyle, I stormed into the garage, slamming the door open. He was fast asleep, groggy from the late hour. I confronted him, and as he rubbed his eyes, he swore he hadn't touched my beer. The truth was, I believed him. Something felt wrong. The sickening realization that someone had broken into our house settled in my gut. After checking the living room and confirming that our TV and other valuables were still there, I walked into my bedroom and froze. My $2,500 laptop was gone. Panic set in as Kyle called the police, and we searched high and low for our missing items. Desperate, we decided to investigate the yard. The house had a strange history. My aunt's elderly mother had lived in a small, attached suite before her passing, and a peculiar woman had rented it since then. She had a reputation for erratic behavior, which became increasingly apparent during our stay. Her brother moved in a few months later, and he was even creepier, always lurking around, eyes glazed and refusing to engage. As we searched the yard, we noticed fresh footprints in the snow leading from their door to our garage. It all clicked. We banged on their door, demanding answers. Someone peeked through the curtain, and I felt a chill run down my spine. The police arrived, but despite our claims about the neighbor's drug-related activities, they couldn't do anything since the warrant against the brother was from out of province. Frustrated, they left, and as I lay in bed later that night, I heard it, footsteps outside my door. They stopped, and suddenly, my doorknob began shaking violently. Half asleep, I brushed it off, thinking it was Kyle. The next morning, I asked him why he tried to get in my room at 3 a.m. He looked confused and said he hadn't gotten up all night. My heart dropped. I had locked my bedroom door out of an old childhood fear, but what if I hadn't? We moved out within weeks, haunted by the thought of what could have happened if I had left the door unlocked that night. The story number 2, The Uninvited Watcher. It was a night of celebration, my friend Jake's 21st birthday, and the house was packed with people, laughter, and loud music. We had planned this party for weeks, and it was chaotic, to say the least. Probably around 100 guests. Amidst the revelry, I noticed a peculiar figure lingering in the corner, an older man, unkempt and dressed in a faded jacket, quietly watching everyone drink and dance. At first, I dismissed him as someone's uncle or a party crasher, but as the night wore on and most of the guests trickled out, he remained in that same spot, his eyes fixated on us. Unease began to creep over me, so I asked a couple of friends about him. They shrugged, equally perplexed. We decided to wait for him to leave, but when the last of our friends said their goodbyes, I looked around, and he was gone. A wave of relief washed over me. I felt like I could finally relax, even though it wasn't my house. That night, a few of us decided to crash there. I sprawled out on the couch in the den, fatigue quickly overtaking me. But I woke up a few hours later, parched and needing to use the bathroom. After quenching my thirst in the kitchen, I returned to the den, only to find the sliding door to the coat closet slightly ajar. A chill coursed through me as I remembered the unsettling man from earlier. What if he had hidden in there? My heart raced as I lay still, convincing myself that I was just imagining things. But then the door creaked open a little more, and I felt a primal urge to escape. I quickly calculated my path. If I leaped over the couch, I could reach the stairs to the living room. With my heart pounding in my chest, I jumped. As soon as my feet hit the floor, I heard the closet door fully open, followed by the sound of footsteps chasing after me. "Wake up!" I screamed at my friends who were sprawled out on the couches. They bolted upright, confusion etched on their faces. "There's someone in the house," I shouted, and when I glanced back, the shadowy figure was nowhere to be seen. My friends looked skeptical, but our numbers gave me courage. Just then, we heard the back door swing open with a loud creak. We exchanged terrified glances and immediately called the police, but the man was long gone. He had slipped away into the night, leaving us with only the chilling memory of his presence. To this day, I can't shake the feeling that he was watching us, hidden in the shadows, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. The story number 3, the Midnight Plea. During my time at college in North Carolina, I took a part-time job at a local TJ Maxx to help cover expenses. Since I attended classes during the day, I often worked late shifts, usually leaving the store around 11:30 p.m. For safety, all employees were required to exit together, with a security guard monitoring the parking lot. One fateful night, I was walking to my car when I heard a vehicle pull up behind me. I turned to see a woman in her mid-30s with a teenage girl in the passenger seat. The woman rolled down her window and began to spin a tale about how they had come to visit family and had run out of gas. Desperation laced her voice as she asked if I could lend them a few dollars. Feeling uneasy, I politely told her I didn't carry cash. She seemed unfazed, and instead, her voice grew more frantic as she insisted I get in the car and help them buy $10 worth of gas. My instinct screamed at me to refuse. It was then that I noticed the girl in the passenger seat. She was fixated on me, her eyes wide and unblinking, her tongue darting out to lick her lips as she twisted her fingers together. A chill raced down my spine and panic surged through me. I turned on my heels and sprinted back to the store, where the security guard stood. As I recounted the bizarre encounter, the guard's expression darkened. Without hesitation, he started walking towards their car, which had parked directly behind mine. The moment he approached, the woman slammed the gas pedal, and the vehicle sped away, tires screeching against the pavement. Shaking, I tried to calm my racing heart. I couldn't shake the unsettling feeling that something was very wrong. Why had she asked me to get in the car? What was the daughter doing staring at me like that? I reported the incident to my manager the next day, but the unease lingered. For weeks, I couldn't shake the memory of that encounter. Every time I left work late, I glanced over my shoulder, half expecting to see them lurking nearby. It's been years since that night, but the image of the woman's frantic eyes and the girl's eerie gaze haunt me. I've never felt more grateful for the instinct that pushed me to run, but to this day, I still wonder what might have happened if I hadn't listened. Thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe, and share.